Right, Lol, would you like to quickly finish off?
Well, I'm going to save a lot for tomorrow. All right.
Yep, yeah,
I'm
that's
going to
fine.
finish off with one.
No!
I'll finish up with to keep John happy. I think about Sheffield Wednesday.
Since when has you kept me happy about Wednesday?
Now, Gary Monk, he's confirmed on Saturday that Barry Bannon will take over as Owls captain from Tom Lees for the new season. He took the captain's armband for the first time in Saturday's 0-0 draw with the friendly against Leicester, as he starts his sixth campaign with Wednesday, who was the vice-captain last season. What's your thoughts about, are they getting rid of Tom Lees then, John, or what?
I think it's about time he stepped down. I don't know if Dave agrees with me or not. I mean, when we first got him, I think for about 3 seasons, he was tremendously consistent and I really liked him. I think in this last season, he's lost a bit of confidence. He's had problems with injuries, but he stopped taking responsibility at the back, and I've found he's passed responsibility onto other defenders when he's in trouble, and I don't expect that of a captain. But then again, I think Bannon was also inconsistent last season. At his best, he's brilliant at that level, Barry Bannon. But the trouble is, everything goes through him. So when he's not at his best, we're floundering. I hope it works, and I think it is time for a change with Tom Lees. We've got better defenders now. But it's yet to be seen whether Barry Bannon's the right man. Hopefully, it'll give him some authority and confidence to be captain.
Yeah. How did you draw 0-0 with Leicester?
Vardy played as well.
Well, that's why.
That's probably why. He was probably playing for Wednesday.
Going against you.
Wednesday missed a lot of chances. They're not going to get anywhere till he finds at least 2 new forwards.
Yeah, you're right, Ron.
He's going to have to sign at least 2.
See, Forestieri's having a trial with Watford, isn't he?
Mm.
Can we talk football for a minute? Do you see Liverpool are going for this Thiago guy?
Liverpool, the losing team, yeah.
What have they lost?
Eh? Charity Shield.
They didn't lose it. It was charity.
They didn't win it.
Well, it was charity. You have it.
We did have it once, about 1935.
The day war broke out.
So in Abyssinia, probably.
In all the familiar places.
Well, I'll just finish off about Wednesday, then hand over back to Keith to deal with Chris. Now, the Owls are still interested.
Deal with Chris.
The Owls are still interested in bringing back Jacob Murphy from Newcastle for another season. The 25-year-old, a lifelong fan of Newcastle, spent last season at Hillsborough finishing second top scorer with 9 goals. The speedy forward, valued at £10 million, is interesting several other clubs, but is determined to fight for a place in his parent club's team. Would you like him back, you Wednesdayites? You would. You like him back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good player.
Yeah. We'll not get him back though.
No.
Him and 10 others.
Yeah, Wazzock.
Okay.
10 Wazzock would do.
And I've got a quiz about Wednesday, which I can do tomorrow if you're interested.
Have you?
When did they last win?
That'll be interesting. A quiz about Wednesday from United. That'll be amazing.
2 questions.
Only a very short one.
And easy as well.
Right. Okay.
Okay, hand you back.
We are due to sign Messi.
Yeah.
They missed the eye off his name though.
Yeah.
Is it Mr. Messi?
Very good, Keith. Very good. Yeah. Keep checking the tablets.
I will. Right. Okay. We'll move on to Chris's story. So, just to bring you back up to date, And if Chris will apologise, I'm going to just tell you a bit about towards the end of Chris's career. He played past his...
Still playing. I'm still playing.
Hey, he's still playing. Have some respect.
Many people have written me off, but I'm still hanging in.
The notice of his death has been greatly exaggerated.
Yeah. He even won the Retford Second 11 Player of the Year in 2010. So he joined Thoresby Park in 2014-15, and until the present day, he's played for them, apart from Town. He was involved in the promotion-winning team at Thoresby, and last season he played his third full season for them, aged 63. God.
Never.
Thanks,
Never.
Keith. Thank you, Keith.
That was the score.
And he scored 47 not out in a 120-plus run partnership in the Bassetlaw League match versus Kiverton.
You've got that the wrong way round. He scored 63 and he was 47.
Yeah. And he's still recovering. Right. Chris, you must have played against some professionals in your career. Would you like to tell us who stands out amongst those?
Well, there's professionals you play against in what I call very serious cricket.
I'm talking about in the league game.
In the league, yeah. Well, playing with right up there, I mentioned him before, is Mike Bore. Played for Yorkshire and Notts and was a tremendous player. Played for Notts in their 87 championship winning team. And Franklin Stevenson I've mentioned. I can't speak more highly of a man and as a cricketer as Franklin. It was a great honour to play a couple of games with him for Retford when he was available in 1988. Just a little footnote about that man. In his autobiography, which came out last year, Franklin's very well written book, my dad is well mentioned in this book, bless him, and conversations that he had with Franklin about cricket, about joining Notts. And Franklin's done justice to that. He's also put a lovely picture in this book of my mum and dad, who were godparents to his young daughter. And Franklin brought this book to my mum's house the week prior to my dad's funeral. He made a massive effort to get to Retford, and he brought that book and gave it to my mum. And I think the world of that family. They are a brilliant, close-knit, Barbadian cricket sport family, and he's a top man. So that was a great honour to play with him, Keith.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say Peter Hacker and Kenny Watson, whose names I've mentioned. They were pros with Keith Jackson, with myself in the Retford team of the late 70s. They were model professionals for Retford. Brilliant players as a young man to play with. It made you want to play well. You didn't want to look silly in front of people like that. And I will never forget a game that Peter Hacker played against Milton, which is a club I joined for a couple of years. And he put a couple in hospital. He broke the captain's forearm. And it was a shambles. Milton was just not up to it. He was just too... And one of the wives of one of the players shouted at one stage onto the field, "Take him off, he's too fast." And I will never forget that, because never a truer word has been spoken. There were no helmets and they were in great physical danger. So I'll never forget those two. And the other one, if I may quickly mention, I only played once with him. Andy Bickle went on to play for Australia 19 times. He was rapid. And I played in a game with him, Keith, where the great West Indian Barbadian wicketkeeper Henderson Jordan, who played for Retford. He was playing, and Henderson was probably the best wicketkeeper I've ever seen at any level. And he went and stood up to Andy Bickle, and Andy Bickle turned on his run-up to see a wicketkeeper stood up. And he was absolutely incandescent. He was furious. This was like an insult. Anyway, he came into bowl. He bowled a bouncer with the wicketkeeper stood up. Henderson took it above his head one-handed, brought it down, took one bail off, and the bloke was out of his crease stumped. And I had never seen a bowler more angry on taking a wicket, because it was stumped Jordan Bowl Bickle. So little things like that, they enter your mind, and you never ever forget incidents like that. It was quite amazing stuff. So I just, I've played with loads of people who got great ability, and it was just a great pleasure to just be on the same field.
Yeah, Chris, I'll just run through a few of the names that you've played with, who we might all know, as well as Mike Bohr, Peter Kirsten of South Africa, Ian Blackwell of Derbyshire and England,
what a player,
Samit Patel of Nottingham and England, Chris Cairns, the son of the famous Lance Cairns. So
there's a tale to tell.
Yeah, and was it? He held a world record at one time, did he?
When I played against Cairns, I don't know whether Keith was playing in the game. It was at Blidworth. He was a young lad of about 18, 19 on the Notts staff. He was their pro, and he was completely wild. He was just trying to knock your head off. He went on to become arguably at the time one of the world's great all-rounders, and he did hold the record for the most sixes hit in Test match cricket until Gilchrist went over the top of his record. But that was quite something. Again, no helmets, late 80s it would be. I called for my helmet, and he gave me a load of verbals for doing that. So I said in a very calm manner to him, I'm going to work on Monday, and I don't need to be in hospital. He said something else, and I said something else. And the battle continued. And about 20 years later, I met him at a function. I went up to him. By now, he's had his career, and he's, famous man.
Were you still wearing your helmet?
No, I should have done. And I said, you won't remember me, but when you played for Blidworth, he went, Blidworth, yeah. I said, you were trying to kill me at one stage. My last comment to you wasn't complimentary, so I do apologise, but it was heat of the moment. We had a real good laugh. And again, cricket's like that. It's deadly serious, but it's also memories for a lifetime. And that was Chris Cairns, quite a fast bowler. I think it was the fastest bowler I ever faced.
Right. Okay. Right. If we can move on to cricket tours, Chris.
Cricket tours? Oh dear.
Yes.
Well, you know what they say about cricket tours, don't you?
What's that, Chris?
What happens on tour stays on tour. So, although I did do a few tours, there are stories that cannot be done in public.
Keith just wants to present you the bills, that's all.
But I will tell you about going to Australia, because you don't do that very often. And in 2003, whether you can see that, in 2003, I ended up in Australia watching England, and our guests were, the people that hosted us, were Mike Gatting, Clive Radley and Norman Cowans. And we went to play this match before the test match in Melbourne against an Aussie team. Bearing in mind, none of us have played since September. This is December the 24th or something. And I went into this game with borrowed kit and a sort of smile on my face, just having a laugh. And the Australians who were all in that picture, they were taking it dead serious, like Aussies do. And I ended up batting, and I had bouncers bowled at me. And this is a friendly, and it was like playing in a league game. And there was a lot of banter, and I turned round at one stage in this great big circle of fielders, and this, I said, what's happening, guys, And they said, we all remember Larwood. I'm thinking, I'm getting bounced because Harold Larwood beat you in 1932. This is very serious. Anyway, Mike Gatting, who was a brilliant host, went in, knocked him off, and we tricked him, which was hilarious. Gatting, by the way, was the most enthusiastic England fan I've ever had the pleasure of being with. The end of every day's play in Sydney, where we did win, he held court in the hotel and then took us all out on the tile and led everything. He was fantastic. And when England won that game, he took out into Main Street, Sydney, and he ended up doing all the dancing on the tables and leading the singing. This is the former captain of England. He was he remains the biggest cricket fan of England of all time, I think. It was great fun. I'll never forget that match. That was quite an amazing game.
So you also went to Barbados in 1985?
Yeah, on a cricket tour. Yeah, we got absolutely hammered every match.
Yeah.
We were nowhere near good enough, but we had a lot of fun and drank a lot of rum.
Yeah. And what about Amsterdam in 87?
Oh no, what I've just said, what happens on tour? Keith, I did ask you, I did let you in that I went to Amsterdam on a cricket tour, and I said to you, I'm not answering any questions on that one.
Amsterdam.
Pardon?
Don't mention Amsterdam.
Don't mention Amsterdam.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. It was very good fun. We saw a lot of. We visited the sites and we saw a lot of things.
Yeah.
Tulips.
All right.
The end.
In pairs.
Okay. So there's some domestic tours as well.
Yeah.
And I believe that you achieved something in one particular game against cricket lovers.
Yeah. So, some tours are very frivolous and very, and others are quite serious. I went on tour with Sheffield Cricket Lovers. That was a serious tour, proper cricket, serious stuff. And we played the Combined Services at Portsmouth on the county ground. And it was one of those days where I Keith as a bowler will know what I'm saying. It just all worked for me, all in one go. And I got 7 for 35, which is my best ever figures as a bowler. And I bowled really fast. I bowled quite fast. And that was an amazing day. And, it was a tour game, but it was taken seriously. And I was very proud of that performance because I know that I actually got it together on that day, and I bowled pretty well. That's a good memory.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I'm just going to list or tell you about some of the people that Chris has played cricket with in benefit matches or tournaments. Okay? And it's a list to be revered. Arnie Sidebottom, Dickie Bird, Clive Radley, Paul Downton, Roland Butcher, John Lever, Gladstone Small, Andy Lloyd, Jim Love, AJ Harris, Paul Johnson, Paul Franks, Jason Gallion, Ashley Metcalf, Martin Moulton, David Byers, Chris Silverwood, Tim Robinson, Chris Reed, Steve Oldham, Derek Randall, Gerard Brophy, and Ryan Sidebottom. So that's
wow.
That's quite some list. So, can you tell us, in your career playing benefit matches, can you tell us anything of note? What about Richard Hadley?
Right.
What did he have to say to you?
Well, Richard was a very serious individual. Set himself targets. Possibly at the time of his career, he was the best player in the world. And he had a benefit in 1986. And I was at Milton with Nigel, and Milton played against Notts and Richard Hadley at Milton. And this is the programme for that game, which Richard signed for me. So that's Richard Hadley. Richard Hadley came in and smashed it all over the place, and several other Notts players did, and they got loads. And then, because you're supposed to lose. And what happened was, Nigel went in first, and he got best part of 100, and 2 or 3 of us chipped in, and we got desperately near. And you're not supposed to beat Notts in a benefit game. You're just supposed to have a bit of fun and then go home and have a drink. And so Richard put himself on. and then one of our players, who I won't embarrass, but one of our players came to the crease, and as Richard Hadley's running into bowl at him off a half run up, he said, "Whoa, hang on, I'm at the non-strikers end." I'm thinking, what the? He said, "The sight screen's not quite right, Richard. Can you move it, please?" So in those days, the ground that we played on was at one end was a bit of a field, and the sight screen was half in the field, half out the field. And it took most of the Notts players 3 or 4 minutes to move the sight screen, as if it would make any difference if Richard tried. So Richard's on his run up with just throwing the ball up in his hand, and I'm thinking, oh no, it's getting more serious. And when he was ready, he came in and he bowled my colleague before he'd actually picked the bat up. It cartwheeled a stump, and off he went. And then I had to face the next over from Richard, and I thought, I'd better show some respect here because he'll knock my head off. And he pitched it up, and I sort of played and missed, and then blocked one, and then we got to the end of the over, and then by then we couldn't win. And
Right.
and Richard won the game. It was a benefit game, but it just says when you're a pro at that level, every game is to be fought and won. And that was quite staggering.
Yeah.
Can I mention Arnie?
Yeah. Yeah.
Arnie Sidebottom, you read that list out.
Yeah.
The whole reason for having the ability to mix with such people is Arnie, because I met Arnie. I don't know who introduced me. I met him in '88. It was his benefit year, and my company organised an event for him at Sheffield, Abbeydale Park. And when you organise an event, you get to know someone. And this bloke, what a really nice man, and what a great player he was. Bear in mind, in 1973, I saw him make his debut for Man United against Sheffield United at Old Trafford, not knowing that I would also then see him play for England at Trent Bridge, and then not knowing that in 1988 I would become his friend. And I really did become, we are friends to this day. We're really close friends. And because I was his friend, he let me into the inner sanctum. So I met people, I was introduced to other people, other pros, other umpires, Dickie Bird, people that I've still got friendships with. And then when they have their benefit, then it starts to interconnect. But a lot of it was entirely due to getting to know Arnie. And just to give you a measure of the man, when I helped him on his benefit, you don't get something on a computer or impersonal. You get a handwritten letter. Can you see that? A really well thought out, lovely handwritten letter from Arnie Sidebottom. It's so good, I would never throw it away. And then right up to recent times, there's me and Arnie at one of Ryan's events in 2017. And if I rang him up now, guys, which I might do, and say, will you come on a Zoom call? I rate him as highly as anybody I've ever met in the game.
Yeah.
And the reason for meeting those other people and knowing some of them well is Arnie, and that's why I wanted to mention him.
Okay.
Very good.
Right. Yes.
Can I just?
Ross?
Didn't Sir Alex Ferguson say he'd have played for England at football if he hadn't have chosen cricket? Arnie
I don't know that, but obviously Arnie was a talented teenage.
Yeah, I'm
footballer.
sure he did. I'm sure.
Did he? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Alex Ferguson said he would have played for England at football if he hadn't have chosen cricket.
Well,
Yeah.
there you go.
What-
Yeah.
And just to look at some of the names, there's one that I forgot to mention. Well, there's Alan Border. You've actually
Oh, Alan Border.
didn't you open the batting with Alan Border?
If I've ever mentioned this once, twice, or 14 times, the group will have to forgive me, because in 1988, Mike Gatting's benefit in London. Okay, 88. It's a corporate day. My company's involved. I'm a cricketer, so-called, so I get to organise the team. And when we get there, my team is given Alan Border as its pro. And I'm sat on the same team as Alan Border, which is ridiculous. He's the best player in the world at the time. He's overplaying for Essex. But, I mean, anyway, so obviously as skipper, I decide we're batting, and I'm batting with him. This is an opportunity never. This is not going to go past me. So out we go, and he says, would you like to face? And I went, now everyone's come to watch you, Alan. You just get the runs, and I'll run up and down, and we'll win this match. There's about 1,200 people watching this match. And it's the first ball of the day. He's batting. Big full toss, smacked it to deep square leg, where a bloke never had to move, and caught him.
Oh.
And not first ball. And he walked past me to go back to the pavilion, and Alan Border said sorry to me.
Yeah.
The umpire, who was a test match umpire, Barry Mayer, he said to me, you can always tell people in the future you open the batting with Alan Border, but never tell them how long it lasted. That happened to me. It's staggering. It's staggering. Can I add that the following year we played again, and I think I was in Paul Paul Downton's team, the England wicketkeeper. He's playing for us, and I had to bowl against Clive Lloyd.
Yeah.
Which again is ridiculous. I shouldn't be anywhere near the same field.
Yeah.
And Clive Lloyd, who'd only just finished playing, hit me for 4 consecutive offside straight drives, each one straighter than the previous one, each one more powerful. And at the end of the over, I went down to pay my respects almost and just said, that was a pleasure. And he bumped fists with me and just laughed. And again, you can't forget things like that, because you shouldn't be anywhere near even a blade of grass near such a man. And but I actually bowled to him, and he hit me. He hit me absolutely out the ground, all along the ground 4 times. It was fantastic.
Yeah. Right, let's just move on, Chris.
Keith,
Sorry.
It's all right. As well as Clive Lloyd, Des Haynes. Yes.
Ian.
Chris,
Yes, Ian.
can I just ask Chris, in the match with Alan Border, how many runs did you score, Chris?
Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah.
I got 12 more than he did.
There you go. There you go.
And not many people can say that.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Well done.
Right. So there was Des Haynes, Nasser Hussain, Mark Waugh of Australia, batting with Richie Richardson, Paul Downton. So some fantastic names in cricket.
I did bowl to Mark Waugh,
Right.
and he was called Afghan, by the way, his nickname. Anyone know why he was called Afghan?
He's a hound.
He was the forgotten war.
Oh.
Mark Waugh was an absolutely sensational cricketer playing for Essex. It was in John Lever's benefit in London, and I came on to bowl, and it was him facing, and I hit him twice on the pads, and they were both nowhere near out, but I gave the most horrendous appeals for both of them because I wanted to say I've appealed against Mark Waugh's batting.
You were
And
just
he just gave me
warmongering.
He gave me the look. He gave me the look that only an Aussie can give you.
Right.
But a happier event was I opened the batting with Richie Richardson in Martin Moxon's benefit in 1983, not in London, in Doncaster. And he was just the most joyous person to meet. What an amazing man and a great player. And he was captain of West Indies at the time, playing for Yorkshire, and he came to help Martin Moxon in his benefit. And so I got in quick and opened the batting with him as well.
Right, Chris, I want to move on to your fundraising activities so that people are aware. Chris became the chairman of the fundraising committee 1990 to 2014. From the first President's Day in support of the Laurie Madden benefit in 1990 to the final club Gala Day in 2013. Chris chaired an incredible collection of volunteers to plan and operate fundraising. During that time, he's raised over 80,000 for the club, 25,000 for cricket beneficiaries and local charities, good causes, such as the MS Society, Bluebell Wood, Air Ambulance, the Lions and Macmillan Nurses. He planned and ran all the special functions for the club's 150th anniversary in 2008, including the publication of the anniversary handbook. And due to his efforts, the club's ground facilities were improved immeasurably. So, but there is one fundraising that stands out from the rest. Yes, Chris?
Keith, can I just say that, I mean, I was involved in a lot of these fundraising. Our organisation with Chris is the best organiser and best administrator I've ever worked with. It's just second to none. He crosses every T and dots every I. He is superb at organising. He really is.
Brilliant.
Well done.
Thank you. Well done. Right, Chris, there's
and by the way, Keith, your wife is the best organiser of memorabilia, raffles, draws, tombolas, and anything else that you can take money off people. So thank her. Will you thank her again for me, please?
I will.
By the way, John, I must just got to say this. The first thing I organised was the Laurie Madden benefit day at Retford, 1990.
Yeah, very good.
So when I met him, he said, let's have a meet. I said, where do you want to meet? He said, Hillsborough. So I went to Hillsborough, and he gave me a conducted tour of the inner, the group, and I was completely unimpressed. And he must have thought, what have I let myself in for? But actually, we got on very well, and we ran a good day for him.
Are you still in touch with the truck?
Pardon?
Are you still in touch with the truck?
The truck. I haven't seen. Last time I saw him, he was commentating on a game at Bramall Lane, and but I haven't seen him for about 5 years now.
No.
Right. Okay. Let me just stop there because we're running out of time
Okay,
again.
carry on, Keith.
This is going to run into overspill to the third week because there's a few events and they're going to need a few minutes to explain. So I'll just finish this off by saying that Chris is won Bassett Law's Sports Administrator of the Year, an RCC Retford Member of the Year twice, and he's got life membership of Retford Cricket Club. He also won the recipient of the ECB Oscar for volunteering in cricket. Now, he's going to tell us a bit more about them next week now, and one other event that we can't miss. So I'm sorry, chaps, we're less than a minute, so let's wrap it up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll see you, some of you tomorrow and the rest next week.
Yep.
Bye,
Bye.
chaps.
Yeah.
See ya,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.